In the event that you decided to stop working, imagine saying this to yourself right now. How long will your leftover savings allow you to maintain your current standard of living? What I just wanted to know from you was how you define wealth. Robert Kiyosaki is an American investor, businessman, author, motivational speaker, and financial pundit who rose to prominence in recent years and is currently estimated to have a net worth of $80 million. Kiyosaki is also known as the richest man in America. Do you want to learn something fascinating? He did not come from an affluent family and did not grow up in one. In point of fact, his family was typical of the majority of working people in that they worked hard but did not have the best financial knowledge and frequently experienced difficulties with money. To answer your question, then, how did Robert get to be so wealthy today? Let's take a look at what he has to say about it in one of his most successful books, which is titled Rich Dad, Poor Dad. In the month of April in 1947, Robert Kiyosaki was born in Hilo, Hawaii. In 1957, when Robert was 9 years old, he enrolled in the same public school that the wealthy people in his town sent their children to. Robert's town had a large number of successful business owners, doctors, and bankers. Robert observed that the children of wealthy people would avoid him because of his family, and he was unable to purchase the most recent collections of toys and motorcycles that were available to the other children. One day, Robert posed this question to his father, who had attended a number of prestigious institutions and earned degrees in a variety of disciplines. "Dad, are you able to provide me some advice on how to become wealthy?" Unfortunately, due to the fact that he was wealthy himself, his father was unable to provide the correct response. As a result, he answered by saying, "Well, use your head, son, stay in school, and get good grades so that he could find a job that is safe and secure." Who is his biological father? The nickname Poor Dad will be applied to him. During this time, he was not living in poverty. In point of fact, he was raking in a lot of cash. But unfortunately, things go from bad to worse for this man when it comes to his finances in the end. Now, young Robert has a friend named Mike, and Robert and Mike's father are going to be referred to as Rich Dad. Rich Dad has begun teaching Robert and his son Mike how to truly become wealthy by serving as a mentor to both of them. Rich Dad was not actually wealthy at this point in time. Nonetheless, he was on his way to being one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii very quickly. So then, what did Robert learn from his wealthy father? The book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, laid a solid financial foundation for these children, teaching them many essential principles along the way. To begin, the first thing you need to learn is that you need to know the difference between an asset and a liability, and that you need to acquire assets. You also need to know that you need to buy assets. If you want to become wealthy, this is all you truly need to know, and the understanding of it should be your top priority. You can see that those who are already wealthy continue to amass assets, while those in the middle class and lower class continue to amass liabilities. However, at times they believe that they are assets. The most common reason for people to struggle financially is that they are simply unable to differentiate between an asset and a debt. Oh yeah, I see. Do you even know the difference between an asset and a liability? I seriously doubt it. Something that makes money for me to put in my pocket is referred to as an asset. Something that results in financial loss for me is referred to as a liability. For illustration's sake, let's sketch out the pattern of cash flow for an average person. This individual right here has a job that provides him with an income, and the things that make up his expenses include things like food, clothes, entertainment, and transportation. Unfortunately, he does not have any assets, but he certainly does have liabilities, which include things like mortgages, taxes, credit cards, and loans, all of which continually drain money out of his pocket, and the house, whether you can believe it or not. Now that we have that out of the way, let's have a look at how the cash flow pattern truly works for wealthy people. They invest in and hold assets that bring money into their wallets as a sort of passive income, rather than focusing on ways to make more money from their typical employment, which is their only source of income. A source of income that does not need your active participation in order to generate monetary gain is referred to as passive income. In other words, you would be making money even as you slept, which is quite an impressive feat. Businesses that can function without your direct involvement are good examples of assets. The term income-producing assets can refer to a wide variety of assets, including stocks, bonds, mutual funds, income-producing real estate, royalties, notes, and anything else that has value and creates income. As was just discussed, the work that poor Dad had was bringing in a decent amount of money for the family. However, it seems that his expenses are always keeping up with his income, which prevents him from ever being able to invest in assets. Because of this, his obligations, such as his mortgages and credit card bills, grew larger over the course of time. The fact that his income was equal to his expenses was to blame for this problem, and liabilities are greater than assets, which is the unfortunate reason why poor old Dad continued to be in the red even after he passed away. On the other hand, affluent Dad's personal financial statement reflects the outcome of a life that was devoted to investing and reducing liabilities as much as possible. The fact that he has more assets than obligations explains why he has a positive net worth. His income is higher than his expenses. This is virtually the reason why the wealthy are amassing even more wealth. Their assets create a revenue that is much in excess of what is required to satisfy their costs. Because the remaining balance is put back into the asset column, that column continues to increase in size, which in turn causes the income to increase as well. You see, both of your dads put in a lot of effort. On the other hand, their perspectives and ideas are diametrically opposed. One of the dads gave the advice to work hard in school so that you can land a job with a reputable organization. The other person suggested that he put in a lot of effort into his studies so that he could get a decent job and afford one. The fact that I have children, replied the father, is the primary reason I am not wealthy. The other person stated that the fact that I had children indicates that I must be wealthy. When it comes to your financial situation, one person advised being cautious and not taking any unnecessary chances. The other person advised you to become skilled at risk management. Someone responded, I don't have the money for that. The other person asked how they could possibly afford that. Even though both men held education and learning in the highest regard, their perspectives on what should be prioritized in a student's education were diametrically opposed. Robert was enlightened by the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, to the fact that the majority of people's life are perpetually governed by just two feelings. Fear and greed are what keep him mired in a routine that consists of getting up, going to work, and paying the bills yet again and again. They are stuck in this cycle of working, earning money, working, earning money, and hoping that the dread of not having money will go away. Dread has led them into this trap. They respond emotionally rather than rationally, opting to avoid confronting the terror that they are experiencing. The other feeling, which we refer to as desire. Some people refer to it as greed, which is another reason why people work for money. They need it. They want money because they believe it will offer them happiness, but the happiness that money brings is frequently fleeting, and it doesn't take long until they realize they need more money to experience further happiness, pleasure, comfort, and security. You know, the same fear and desire is what drives a lot of individuals to be so passionate about going to school in order to improve their chances of getting a job that pays a high salary. But try not to let it discourage you. Education and employment are both necessary, but overcoming that fear won't be easy even with those things. You need to get an understanding of the power of money rather than having a fear of it in order to conquer this anxiety. The majority of schools, however, don't educate about this topic, and if you don't learn it, you'll end up being the slave to money. Ignorance about money may result in a great deal of greed, as well as a great deal of fear. both of which can lead a person into the greatest trap in life, which is to continually work. Rich Dad advised his children to learn to think with their emotions rather than think with their feelings. Consider the statement, "I need to get another job." This is an example of emotional thinking. "I deserve a raise." This work appeals to me since it offers stability. Instead of thinking logically, such as, "Is there something I'm not seeing right now?" This is how most people have to deal with life. Your career is the source of your income, your wealth, and your assets. Is the money you make. Put these teachings into practice in your life, because if I were to question you about the meaning of your wealth, how long would you have before you ran out of money if you stopped working right now? You can mock me and say that I no longer put in effort to earn a living. I am motivated by financial gain. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to our channel Luxe Mindset, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you guys for watching.